Oh, of course. Classic dictator story. People put down by hard times, willing to accept the commands of someone other who tells them what they want to hear. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Escaflowne. We have a board, we got some notes. Let's start with the board. Not really much to go with here. The board change log is that I added Alan's sister's name and his mom's name, Selena and Encia. Other than that, I thought maybe I had already put a red line between Leon and Alan, due to clearly that one-sided hatred at the very least. I never did. It's always just been a blue line. They've just been family. So, really no character changes. The cat girls, I guess. Did they die? I don't think they died. Sorry, now in my head I'm doubting. Did they die? I don't think they did. I'm sure the first part of this new episode will remind me if they did or not. For some reason, I'm just now thinking, wasn't there a problem? And, didn't Falcon lose something important? I legitimately just watched this episode again this morning. I guess, though, there's also the element that I've legit also reacted to Madoka Magica, Apocalypse Hotel, Apothecary Diaries, and Link Click today before getting back to this. Now, if I've made a mistake, it will be corrected by next episode. Obviously, we're not this isn't the last episode. It's not like the Voltes 5 question that I had. Anyway, notes. Today's card, La Imperatrice, the Empress, obviously. I'm just taking notes about which cards get shown, because obviously, I don't know if it's going to matter or not, but better to have it than not. So the method of travel to Atlantis is the same way that the creators of the Escaflowne travel, except that those guys didn't look Atlantean or Draconian. I'd have to imagine that they are either their own group of survivors that became so insular as to appear other over time, or are in fact a group of scavengers that repurposed old Atlantean technology that they found. Honestly, they sort of come across like Adeptus Mechanicus from 40k, which is really the only reason I'd think to say that they might be leftover Atlanteans that just lost their way. So the Atlanteans were full sci-fi, I guess implying that golden ring thing was a wormhole device. The Draconian calendar is New Galactic, implying that the Atlantean calendar may have been Old Galactic. Either way, the fact that they chose to write out their capital was on the Mystic Moon implies to me that not all of their civilization was, meaning there could be actual Atlanteans, not Draconians, elsewhere. The difference being that an Atlantean, not at the capital, at the fall of Atlantis, and didn't emigrate to Gaia, might not consider themselves Draconian. Isaac saying that he was from the Mystic Moon last episode, and the capital of Atlantis being on the Mystic Moon, could just mean that Isaac, aka Dornkirk, is actually an Atlantean as well. As I think I mentioned last episode, sorry, the caveat here, when I say last episode in this note, that is me referring to the episode before the one that I'm referring to, and not the episode itself. So now, when I'm about to say last episode, I'm referring to the one that the notes are referring to, which is to say, when we saw an old bearded guy heading the whole creation of Gaia, say, that dude looks like, even though he looks incredibly old, a younger version of Dornkirk already. So I'm already wondering, was the leader of the Atlanteans Dornkirk? But isn't too far away from my Zybok in the future or past, if it's just literally a continuation of Atlantis on Gaia. I mean, I guess technically it is pretty far away from that, never mind. It is interesting to note via Hitomi's reading that having wings was not the natural state of being Atlantean. That only occurred after they made their machine to turn thought into reality. Otherwise, as per the description of the machine, transforming human thought into energy, the Atlanteans were just really advanced humans. Also, not for nothing, it seems like we got another allusion to the Tower of Babel in the shape of the machine, reaching up into the sky to become one with God. Not sure why the Atlanteans created Gaia. There was so much Earth left to live on that totally wasn't affected by their disaster. Essentially, they made a machine that manifested their thoughts, and their thoughts nearly destroyed them. And instead of learning that lesson, shutting down the machine and migrating elsewhere on their own planet, hubris bit them again, and they kept using the machine to create Gaia, and then the last of their race moved there. It just feels like they failed to follow their own narrative. So I'm guessing that the gem is actually connected to the mind machine. Sorry, I realize I wrote this and I didn't explain because there's two gems in the episode. There's Hitomi's gem, right, which is the one we see all the other, I don't know, when they transfer from Atlantean to Draconian. When they're creating Gaia, we see that they all have the gem, right? The same one that Leon gave to Hitomi's grandma. And then there's the gem that Vaughn has from his mother that gets put into the Escaflowne at the end of the episode. I'm talking about Hitomi's gem. The gem is actually connected to the mind machine, which I guess they never actually turned off. So when Hitomi makes wishes, she is actually tapping into that machine and manifesting reality through it, much the same way that the thought machine tore apart Atlantis. Hitomi's negative thoughts also hurt her friends. It's essentially the plotline of Forbidden Planet, where an alien race creates a machine to make their thoughts reality, and are all killed overnight by their subconscious thoughts. And to be fair, Forbidden Planet predates Escaflowne. To be fair, there's probably other novels or whatever that predate Forbidden Planet. I'm just putting it into the line of things. And as much as this episode wants to humanize Leon and make him more understandable, if he hadn't gone out to search for Atlantis, Hitomi, well, wouldn't have been born. But also, Dornkirk wouldn't be anywhere closer to finding anything than he was when he was searching on his own. Conceivably, Dornkirk is only this close because of Leon. You know, if Hitomi's gem and her were willing everything into being, sorry, if they were willing everything into being instead of seeing the future, that means she created the situation by which Alan would see his father again way back when she did her first reading on him. You remember when he wanted her to prove that she actually had this power, and then she does the reading and gets like everything right, and then ends it essentially with "You'll see your father again." It's like at this point, how much of the story is Hitomi's creation? And my last note. It is a little bit of a cheat, though, isn't it? Like in Macross Delta, where Hayate becomes a much better pilot when Freya sings, these things happen in these shows where the fighting member of the lineup becomes stronger beyond their own skill. Sorry, not because of their own skill, but because a support character exists with a trick. In this case, Hitomi making Vaughn better with the God Machine and her belief. Granted, all the lights we've seen from Zybok could be building to the same, that both sides are cheating. Hell, that could be the fate manipulation that we've heard from, not from, about Dolandu. Maybe he was implanted with a gem, and the Dragon Slayers weren't actually good, but just had someone behind the scenes believing in them, like Hitomi. Oh man, sorry. I know I wrote the thought, but I don't think that actually hit me until I just read it out loud to you. The idea that we're weaponizing belief, like I don't know if the show is actually doing this, but imagine all the characters in anime who have been inspired to succeed because there was a character behind them that says, I believe in you. And, the cheering of your friends, the tears of your loved ones, all of that, the anime trope. Phil Fisher's in the chat saying they're like orcs. No, I understand where you're coming from. So you're following the 40K thing with me. Going past that, not just the power of belief, the power of weaponizing anime tropes, essentially. The idea that having your friends cheer for you and everything like that makes you better in an anime. What if the bad guys did it, right? But they're still bad guys, so they're not doing it because they actually believe in you. They're doing it because they know the mechanics of the universe, essentially. The idea that Delandu and company have a whole sorcerers. The sorcerers are just essentially a cheerleading squad who are believing in Delandu as hard as they can to make Delandu as good as the good guys' actual belief makes them. I don't know. I get a kick out of the idea of bad guys weaponizing anime tropes. Anyway, as I said, that was my final thought. We already showed the board, basically the same as last time, just some name changes. So let's go ahead and hop on in and see what the next episode has for us.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I have been wavering a little bit on. I know I should have probably talked about this with the board, but we have time here with the opening. Wavering on the idea: did Leon actually have a kid with Hitomi's grandma? Because obviously it wasn't shown on the show, but it's been my belief that that's what happened, and that Hitomi is essentially related to Alan because of that. Now, if that's not the case, fine, whatever. You guys have probably commented on the video by now, telling me I'm completely wrong. But still, the element that Hitomi, if that was true, that Alan is essentially older than her dad, or older than her mother. Which is still a weird case. Because I'm only bringing this up because I'm thinking about the opening and the ending, where the opening is very much which one do I love, and she's still considering Alan. And I'm pretty sure she's still kissing Alan in the ending credits. At the end of the day, God, I can't remember his name. At the end of the day, I believe Hitomi's real option still needs to be Amano. Because, Vaughn has the cat girl, Alan has, well, actually, no, she's falling in love with the other guy. Also, it's a bit weird, isn't it? The Atlanteans fucked up because they believed themselves stronger than God, and then had to be humbled. And now it's the son of a Draconian whose will guide Gaia? Is it not the same thing? So essentially, Atlantean Energist? Ah, too slow. Conceivably still could have run into the beam with him, though. Yeah, for like the third time in a row, right in front of you. Conceivably, Il Monday. Conceivably, Merle, who's constantly grabbing on Vaughn, should have been transported with him like every time. I keep seeing the Zybok place and thinking that it's just Atlantis rebuilt.
動力安定全機能正常に作動中運命バイブレーター臨界点に到達パワースポットエナジー充填100揺らぎ1 0.3 許容内ついにこの時が来た
It's definitely gonna be some sort of like life support system or something.
この日が運命改変運命改変運命改変運命改変運命改変
Again, are they changing their past? Which is what... Oh, that's the symbol he's got carved in his own forehead.
さあ私に見せておくれ我が夢我が理想 どうしたなぜ動かん
Because the dragon's been realized. Oh, really? Are we transporting straight to Dornkirk's room?
アレンさん、バン。
Vaughn was in the Escaflowne, wasn't he? Okay, there we go. Never mind.
一緒に飛ばされたのか。この光は。どうなっているんだ。
なんかとっても大きな建物の中みたいだけど。
Dornkirk's still in here, isn't he?
そう言われれば。
I guess he's just up and over the wall.
床が動いてる。
何？
よくぞ来た竜の定めに結ばれし者たちよ
So is this the result of him putting the Energist into the Escaflowne? Or the fate change that they just did here?
何？
お前が俺たちを呼んだのか。
そうすべては運命
I guess this really puts the thing into scale.
運命？
私はガイアを未来へ導く者ザイバッハ帝国の指導者名はドルンカーグ
我々はザイバッハの中枢へ。
ザイバッハ。
こんな奴がザイバッハの指導者。
I never really noticed. It seems like he's just being supported up and like floating in front of it.
貴様さえ倒せばガイアの悲劇は終わる。
そうかな
何？
いつの世どこの場所でも争いが生まれる戦こそは人間の持つ抗いようのない運命なの
Also, for nothing, I've got a bunch of generals. Who knows what the fuck they'll do if I die?
私には運命を見通す力があるかつてのアトランティス人がそうであったようにな
アトランティス。もしかしてあなた。
Again, this is an amazing scale. He looks tiny in front of the machine, but they look tiny in front of him.
は地球での私の名
幻の月の人間がザイバッハの王。父上が出会ったアイザックというのは。
Okay, I guess that means he's not the old guy from Atlantis.
お前がレオンのこれも運命の導き奴も哀れな男だアトランティスの秘密さえ明かせば
貴様。
I anticipate this thing's gonna open up at some point, and he's got a big old guy melf inside.
アトランティスの謎アトランティスマシンは私が完成させる
あなたはなぜガイアに来たの？あなたが来なければみんな幸せだったのに。
違うな娘よ
Yeah, it kind of seems like they were ready to fight each other regardless.
戦いで流れる血に私が来る以前から地球と同じようにそう地球でのことだ
By the way, did you find my CDs at that vendor stall?
すべての物体には共通する原理がある物体にはその質量に対して引き合う力が生まれる
Oh, like the three-body problem.
この見えない力は一体なぜにこの世に存在するのか人と人とが惹かれ合い人と人とが殺し合うのも世の定め死が連綿と繰り返され あらゆる秩序がこの世に存在する。その秩序の源とは何か。そう、それは運命。宇宙を律する
I don't know.
運命
Equating
の
gravity to
力。
destiny is a pretty
運命
much of a stretch.
運命とは、その定義は何か。法則はあるのか。
I mean,
私はその
you
中
can
を
actually
解き明かそう
define
と全てを
destiny
研
with
究と
physics.
実験に捧げた。
It's Einstein's granite universe.
その結論
Essentially, all past future events have already happened. It's the illusion of free
我が
will.
思いは死の床においても衰えることはなく、より一層高まった。知りたい。運命の原理を知りたい。気がつくと見知らぬ地に来ていた。空に月と青い月が浮かぶ荒れ果てた大地。そこがガイア界ザイバッハ。痩せた土、厳しい気候。
Oh, of course. You know, classic dictator story. People put down by hard times, willing to accept the commands of someone other who tells them what they want to hear.
なんと過酷な運命。私は悟った。この民を救うために
So
私は
weren't you
この
on
地に
death's
来たの
door?
だ。
How the hell did you get better?
私は彼らに自分の持ち得るすべてを与えた。科学という名の知恵を。自然に打ち勝て。私の知る科学は民のためにあると。敵を打ち払え。運命に従うのではなく、運命を自らの手で切り開くのだと。私の思いに民は従い。
Again, the element, though, that he came with science greater than the science he had. This isn't stuff that existed on Earth.
ガイア界創造にまつわるアトランティス伝説を。これこそ私の理想。運命を作ることのできるアトランティスの技。以来、私は持てる知識。
To be fair, dude wanted to become God, and he found a path towards godhood.
ついに作り上げた。運命を生み出す装置を。 アトランティスの民は人の思いを力に変え、運命をも自由にしたという。
This definitely feels like the first time you meet the boss of a game in a Final Fantasy game.
ガイア界がアトランティスの
Yeah, you two were missing for that speech that Hitomi gave.
アトランティスの力、ガイアに残るパワースポットを探し出さねばならなかった。それもフレイド攻略により叶えられた。
What the hell is the power spot, though? Like, why did the Atlanteans create that?
エスカフローネも運命の糸にたぐられ我が元へ来た。
エスカフローネが。
私が長き日思い描いた伝説のアトランティスマシン、運命改変装置は完成したのだ。
運命改変装置。
そんなの変よ。運命を機械を使って変えるなんて。そのために大勢の人を不幸にして。
Did he, though? I mean, his people did.
そんなの変よ。
I guess technically he's the leader of his people, makes him responsible.
小さな不幸は大いなる幸福のための礎。完全なる運命を生み出せば、完全なる
I do believe in utilitarianism. In a fictional world, anyway.
そんなの違う。機械に操られた運命で幸せになるなんて間違ってる。
What the hell? Why are we about to blow up the moon?
瞳。
我と共に見るがよい。
Oh, is the moon the fate engine thing we're talking about? Also, legitimately, the moon, the only natural satellite, is getting blown up so that Gaia can stay around.
アストリアに戻る。ガデスも了承した。
見捨てるというのですか。 アレンたちを。
あいつらがどこに飛ばされたかなんて知
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they teleported. They could be anywhere.
ついてでも時間の無
You're not abandoning them if they're not anywhere.
だってあなたって人は。
そう俺は商人よザイバッハのやつら本気でガイア界を破滅させる気だ俺はそれを食い
I
止め
don't think they've ever said anything about destroying Gaia.
あいつら必ず
I mean, they live on Gaia. All their stuff is there.
思いってのはどっかで繋がってるもんなんだろうきっとな俺の思いもいつか通じると信じてるんだがな
Yeah, this is the aspect of why I said Alan isn't really attached to her as much as he used to be. Because she seems to be moving on.
運命改変装置の最後の鍵イスパーノのガイゲルフにそのような力があるとは何としても我らの手でその謎を解き明かすんだこれ以上フォルケンに先を越されるわけにはいかない
I thought they were going to try and portray Dornkirk or something. Oh, this classic Bowser scenario. Oh, and of course he put all 3 cages next to each other. So his prisoners could talk. Why not?
ここは。
とりあえず殺すつもりはないらしい。
私またビジョンを。大地が崩壊して世界が吹き飛んでしまうの。
アトランティス滅亡のイメージが見えたのでは。
わからない。
No, this is clearly the
も
moon.
っと大きな。
もしかしたらガイアの未来を見たんじゃないのか。
まさか。
No, it was covered with craters.
今はまだ目覚めさせてはいけない。母上はそう言っていた。
Did she say yet?
運命改
I
変
don't remember the
装
word
置を
yet
作動させ
being in there.
このガイアもアトランティスと同じ運命をたどるのかもしれない。
そんな。
Again, Atlantis was just one city.
バン。
Oh, right, they're messing with the Escaflowne.
バン。どうしたのバン。
That's the real danger of Vaughn there.
エスカフローネ
Anyway, my point being is that if it having the same fate as Atlantis, it would mean that the Zybok capital would get destroyed.
バンしっかりして。
どうした。
そうよ。バン。エスカフローネの痛み
Oh,
を
that you
感
can
じる
control it remotely so long as you're holding on to Atome?
思いが届けば離れていてもエスカフローネを動かせるはずよ。
Oh, you don't guess you don't need that Atome part then.
私も手伝う。力を合わせればきっと。
Or you do, never
危
mind.
険だ。君の感動に巻き込まれるぞ。そうだ。お前まで苦しむことはない。
何言ってんのよ。このままじゃバンが死んじゃう。
Yeah, I mean, it's either we both suffer or you die.
手を出して。大丈夫。バンならきっと。
何をしようというのか
What the fuck are you doing, Dornkirk?
消えた
You're literally just watching the anime from inside the anime.
瞳。
平気です。バン、エスカフローネを思って、強く思って、届いて、お願い。
動け。動いてくれ。
エスカフローネ、
Also, conceivably, with this kind of setup, that means he wouldn't be able to use his right hand because it's already gripping Hitomi. Bye bye, sorcerers. Again, I'd be more surprised if I hadn't guessed this earlier. That I thought Bond should be able to control it at a distance. Because otherwise the trade-off just fucking sucks. Ooh, let's shake hands.
バン、とりあえずここから脱出だ。分かってる。あれ、瞳を。
I don't know, it feels like you could kick Dornkirk right in the face. That might be the first thing to do.
屋上から脱出する。行け。
わかった。気をつけて。アレンさん、屋上へ。
I'm telling you, man, this is just like a Final Fantasy adventure. We got like, what, 3 more big encounters left to go, and then the final boss fight.
今度は見える。なぜだ。
Yeah, I mean, you guys are just nameless mooks. We already took out the Dragon Slayers. Who's left, right? Other than, say, Fulkin.
こっちです。
行こ
I guess Delandu, but I don't know if Delandu is going to make like a turn.
う。バーンは無事だろうか。
大丈夫だと思います。バーンなら。
信じているんだな、バーンは。
え？
いや、いいんだ。
I don't think it's time to get jealous, Ellen. You've got plenty of options.
本当に幸せ
You've
な
had plenty of options.
サイバー班の人たち。
来たか。君を私はしない。私の命に変えても。あれ、瞳、早く。さあ、早く。
Also, not for nothing, you could just ask them right now, hey, you guys happy?
行こう。
Probably not the best sample size, but you'd at least have an answer. Now, these guys seem happy. And even as much as the Dragon Slayers are getting mistreated in death, they seemed pretty happy with Delandu.
もっと早く。
We're gonna warp? No, not quite. We are gonna jet though.
少女が近づくとき、未来図は揺らぐ。地球の少女が全てを解き明かす鍵。あの二人を引き離さねば。
一方向より接近するものある。異常な速度です。警戒されます。
Yeah, I guess everyone operates on the speed of hover. And these are the first jet people they've ever seen. I guess the idea is if Yvonne has a great destiny due to his bloodline, then Fulkin is of the same destiny, or the same bloodline. So if anyone can interrupt Yvonne's
サイバー班の
destiny, it would be his brother.
幻の月の人。これが私たちの運命の糸。
Wait, I'm confused. I've always thought that the smaller other moon was the moon, and that the other one was Earth, the big one in the back. But it seems like Earth is the small one in front of Gaia, and that the moon is actually fucking huge. It's either that or that's not the moon, it's just some other larger planetoid. Very confusing. I don't know why I've never noticed that before. I guess probably because every time I brought it up in the art here, even my artist seems to have drawn the larger thing with like a cloud matrix around it. Well, I guess both of them do, so even the moon. Anyway. Yeah, no, this was the speech episode, right? Like, oh god, was it like Final Fantasy X? When, what's his name, the blue hair guy talks to you about Xanarkand? Sorry, there's always a Final Fantasy boss who tells you about the big backstory thing.
Escaflowne.
占ってほしいの。先輩の匂いがする。
Okay, well, I brought up before the idea that Miller's sister may be half cat person because the ear thing, and they very specifically showed us a shot close up of her ear, and then a close up of Falcon with his cat girl, with the ear front and center. So I'm thinking that's the tie-in. Also, she just brought up Amano, as I said, should be her love tie-in. But I think very specifically the opening and the ending are constantly going on about how Alan and Amano are like the same person almost, even though they're clearly not. And I don't mean that like in a metaphysical sort of way either, because they've shown us Amano on Earth while Alan is with Hitomi. So, I don't know. Again, the whole family tree thing that I did makes the whole Hitomi Alan thing feel really weird. And I don't mean I'm not judging based on that, because it's what I said before. It just seems really weird that it would happen in an anime where we're typically young adults all doing a thing, not a young adult and a grandpa. And I know he's not a grandpa, he just age-wise kind of is. Anyway, there's just a lot of questions raised by this. Obviously, it answers a lot of my early suppositions about what Zybok is, where it is, etc., and it makes them all untrue. But I think that those might have been an element of me watching Madoka Magica at the same time, and just labeling all of my ideas from Madoka Magica onto Escaflowne. And it turns out I was 100% right about Madoka Magica, 100% wrong about Escaflowne. You can't transfer ideas from one show to the other. Yeah, I don't know. There's just elements here that I just don't know where they're going, because they almost seem like they're setting up a whole new arc sort of thing, and I don't exactly know how they apply to previous things I said, other than the things that I said in the moment during the reaction. Of course, those are things that will make their way into the notes when I do my notes for this episode. At the same time, no, I don't think I got anything new to add here. There's just the element at play that Dornkirk is from Earth. He seems to be from an earlier time period, like a way earlier time period than Hitomi. Because obviously he's on like life support in that machine. But, you know, he feels like he's from like 1000 AD, right? Well, I don't know. Sometime around the Dark Ages, I'd say. I might be calling the numbers out wrong. But it very much feels like he's from the Dark Ages. And he was on death's doorstep. And then somehow managed to wind up on Gaia perfectly healed. I would almost suspect that either he had one of those gems back then and didn't know it, or a third party was involved. And that would be the most Final Fantasy thing of all, right? Finding out that your big villain isn't the villain at all. There's someone else behind them. That's what Final Fantasy III. The Emperor in Final Fantasy III was actually just a Ponzi for some like god thing in the background. I might be calling it the wrong name. It might be Final Fantasy II that I'm thinking about, actually. Point being, it feels like that could be the thing, that Dornkirk is somebody else's pawn in a greater scheme. Either way, you wouldn't find that out until like the last 2 episodes or something like that, I imagine. Either way, I think I'm done here. Obviously, there's a lot to take in. I need time for that to digest, and I also need time to take the notes so that I can put everything into context with everything else that I've already taken notes about. So, that said, I have been Theta, this has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?